Finn here, thank you for joining me. Let's get straight into today's session. We've got 3 movements from a standing position, 3 movements in a tabletop position, and 3 movements lying supine on your back. Let's have some fun today and let's get moving. First thing we're gonna do is just march your legs. Now, upper body comes into this, so there's a bit of coordination needed. Now, what's happening? We're getting the hip flexors, these muscles here, getting them warmed up. We're getting the thighs, legs, and as you bring your knees up, let's see if we can involve the abdominals as the knee comes up towards the midline of the body. So if you feel like it, put your hands on your tummy, move a little bit slower, and feel what's going on in here, okay? Every time the knee comes up independently, there's a bit of a crunch happening, whether we pick it up or not. Today's a little bit of an exploration physically to get you more in tune with your body. So, feel it. I'm gonna challenge you right now, nice and early. Can you feel your abdominals involved? And if you can't, that's fine, because we've got plenty of time to work this. Now, we're gonna bring this into a little bit of rotation now. So use something for a bit of balance if you need it. Up and across your body. So bring that knee into the midline, across your body. Now you can tap your hand each time the knee comes up, or you can tap the knee to the elbow. That's exercise number 1. We're moving on swiftly. Exercise number 2. Stand with your feet hip width apart. When you're ready, I want you to imagine there is a lasso fixed to your hips and somebody from behind is pulling you backwards. So just your hips are being pulled behind you. We're gonna have a very slight bend in the knee. Have a look at this. So practice with me, follow along with me. Let those hips travel back and feel what's happening around your waist, around your legs, in particular your hamstrings, this big muscle that comes down the back of your leg. We're getting a really nice stretch as the hips go back. Again, we're gonna aim to keep your spine straight. We're gonna avoid any of this if possible. So if you are rounding, stick your bum out, push your hips back, create a nice straight spine, and this will come in time. So if you don't get it today, once again, we have a mindset of we want to get better over a period of time. Practice and repetition. So we're working on those hips. We are working on the hamstrings, on the abdominals involved once again. And all of those muscles are stabilizing your body from down here. So it's a fantastic movement to really get those muscles strong around here. And in particular, we overuse our lower back an awful lot, especially the quads. So when we use the hips and we use the muscles behind the legs, it's a really nice opportunity to even out some of those muscles on the front and back of your body, which we will get into more down the line. Like I said, we're gonna keep it really simple in this session. 2 more. Keep going. I hope you're feeling a little bit more comfortable with these movements. And relax. 3. We're moving on nicely. This is the final exercise from our feet. This movement is forward arm swings. And the reason for this is to create a bit of fluidity and a bit of relaxation in your joints, and in particular your shoulder joint. If you look at the shoulder, it can move in a very wide movement, okay? We can do a lot with this shoulder joint. But if we don't use the joint, it gets stiff and tight over time. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get this shoulder and we're gonna allow it to move freely, forward and back, and we're gonna relax into it. So as you're performing the movement, have a little bit of a sigh of relief, relax the mind, Let go of it being perfect right now. So it doesn't have to be perfect. Just move in whatever range your body will allow you to move at this point. It will improve over time. We're going to connect with our breathing. Take a few deep breaths with me. You can close your eyes if you feel more comfortable, if it helps you to tune in. Otherwise, look straight ahead. Okay, and relax. We're going straight down. So the first set of movements, take your time coming to the mat. We're going to lie on your back. Okay, I'm going to show you the first exercise and then you're going to move into it when you feel ready. So this is called the hip swivel. Now, depending on your knee, hip or ankle mobility, I want you to give it your best shot. Okay, so just again, work around the stiffnesses and the aches and pains in your body. Go to your level. Have a look at this. We've got our feet placed slightly wider than shoulder width. We're going to just let the hips fall to the left and just fall to the right. And it's a swivel. We want to make this feel natural. So as you're moving, just let go once again of that thought that it has to be perfect. Once you get yourself set up from the start, you've got a good foundation and you can just allow those joints, muscles, ligaments, tendons to just relax. You can rest your neck and breathe. Keep going. And see how far you can get. Let's see if we can expand this a little bit. When you're bringing your knees to the one side, see if you can go further to the floor now with those knees. What helps is to keep your elbows or your hands or palms pressed down into the floor either side of you. And this acts as a bit of an anchor to your body, so you'll have a bit of balance and foundation. So as you're moving, let's see how far you can get. We're going to do another few movements and then we're going to keep moving into number 2 on from the floor position. I'm getting a little bit of clicking going on, and that's usually because those muscles are stiff for a while. If, like for example, if you sit down for a long period of time, you might get a bit of clicking. That is zero issue if there's no pain with it. So if you're getting a sharp pain, obviously slow down. So number 2, the next movement we're going to do is into pelvic tilts. Now this is getting you more connected to your hips and what they do. There's a natural tilting. Okay, so if you look at my lower back, I'm going to arch and then I'm going to extend or press my hips down. So I'm going to lift and then I'm going to lower. So this tilting of the hips is really important for healthy hips. If you lose the ability to do this, this is where where issues start to pile up and the stiffness starts to become too dominant and your body's tight. So we're kind of unleashing the chains here. And if you think about it, you're pressing your tailbone against the floor and then you're going to press your lower back against the floor in opposition. So just practice this with me. Just get a feeling of free movement here. Lovely. Okay, so straight away we're going to go into the third exercise on your back, which is a bridge. So feet now pointed forward, hip width apart. You're going to go into the posterior tilt, which is the movement with your lower back grounded and flush against the floor. We've just done the tilts, so you should be in the tune with this. So press your lower back against the floor. That is our launching pad. That's our foundation for this next exercise. You're going to lift your hips off the floor. You've probably seen this one in the past. Lift your hips up off the floor, but we're doing it with the tilt in your pelvis. Why, you say? Well, because we want to get the glute muscles, okay, your butt muscles. We want to get those doing the majority of this movement, okay? Why? Because we sit down traditionally too much as a nation. As a society, we sit down on chairs too much. We've got to get the strength back in these hip muscles because they're fundamental to almost everything we do. And if we lose that, again, This is where we pick up tightness, stiffness, aches, pains, injuries down the line. Lack of movement. So what I want you to imagine is you're pinching your butt cheeks together, okay? You're squeezing them tightly together. You're fully contracting. And this creates that those muscles to really work, and that's what we're after. Your neck is relaxed, your upper body is relaxed, but your glute muscles are not relaxed. They are taking the brunt of this movement. Press your feet, push your feet down into the floor, and squeeze a little bit harder. We're going to hold for another few seconds. You might be feeling this a lot now. And just breathe through it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lovely. Okay, we're going to move into a tabletop position. Okay, take your time. Come into a all-4 position, facing the floor like this. Now, look down at your base. We're looking for a square box. So we don't want to have the knees too close together or the hands too close or hands too wide. We want to create an even box shape between your knees and your hands. When you're comfortable with this, the first thing we're going to do, you'll probably recognize the movement because we've done it on the floor, on your back. Watch this. We're going to tilt the pelvis. Okay. And then we're going to arch the lumbar, lower back. Okay, so this is spinal flexion and extension. Okay, just like this. Okay, so have a go at this right now. Have a feel of it. Again, if it's a new exercise, you got to breathe your way into this. You got to take your time, and you got to have a bit of patience with yourself in this learning phase. So breathe in, look up. We're creating movement, mobilizing the vertebrae, the spinal column, which again is fundamental to a healthy body. Okay, let's move into the second exercise. Now this is going to strengthen your body in the upper region. We're also getting a nice stretch in the lower back. Now, what you might need is 2 pillows. If you're comfortable on your mat, then that's fine. But otherwise, this might help your knee joints. Just we don't want to press the knee joint into the floor if it's too hard. Okay, or the mat. So we're going to put our palms, again, create that box shape and have a look at this. It's called a Hinge Push-Up. We're going to sit the hips back as far as they'll go. And then we're going to launch forward, putting the weight into the upper body, into the arms. Bend the elbows, drop your chest and your whole body on the floor. And then push yourself up and then pull your hip back. Okay, so that's a bit of a challenge. Practice with me. Think about a hinge once again. From the hips, we hinge forward, then we push up using the upper body and then hinge back. So there's a bit of coordination needed, but it doesn't have to be perfect today. Do what you can right now. So it's not just the upper body doing the work. With a traditional push-up, it's very hard to hide from the upper body doing all the work. This is an easier version simply because we're bringing in multiple muscles. We're using the hips, the lower back, the abdominals are working, the shoulders are working, the chest is working, the back is working. Everything's involved, which means it becomes slightly easier to keep going. We can get more repetitions here. So we're going to do about 5 or 6 more, so stay with me and keep moving. Have the patience with yourself and keep moving your body at whatever level you're at right now. One more. And hold it right there. Okay. The third and final exercise. I'm delighted you're still with me. Let's go with the same body position. This is called thread the needle. I'm going to show you what it looks like. There's 2 parts. One is an overhead reach. So I'm going to look and stretch and reach one arm up overhead. And I'm looking and I'm trying to get those fingertips as high as I can, trying to lift the arm. And then we thread the needle underneath your grounded hand. Watch this. I'm going to come under, thread, 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 and reach underneath now. Now what's happening? We're getting this magnificent twisting rotation happening in the upper body. And I'm getting this big stretch down the side of my back. And I'm going to try and relax in this body position and this stretch. Okay, so we're going to reset. Take a moment. We're going to be alternating, so we'll do 3 on this side and 3 on that side. So it doesn't matter which side you start with. Here we go. So reach with me overhead. Up, 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 up. Hold. And as you're reaching with your hand overhead, I'd like you to press through your other hand, which is placed on the floor. So now we've got a bit of opposition, pushing down through one hand and reaching up through the other. Here we go, thread, down, down. And if you can't get that high, if you're here, then that's okay. That's where your body is, just accept it. And you're gonna move at that, you're gonna improve that over time if you're consistent and resilient. So we're coming under now. This is part 2. So what I find helps is placing your cheek on the floor and hold that stretch. Okay, we're going to come up. Number 2, here we go. Stretch and reach. Thread the needle, under we go. Bend the right or the opposite grounded hand and the arm, bend the elbow there. This gives you a bit of freedom to come underneath. Again, you've got a bit of balance happening through the knees and the toes. Okay. Last one, overhead stretch. Enjoy it. And come underneath. Finish strong. Okay, looking good. Swap sides, get your base strong. Always reset and kind of press reset before you go anywhere. It's worth the extra few seconds. When you're happy with this, you feel strong in this position, let's go. Reach the opposite hand up, follow me. Be aware of your breathing. Simply unlock it, let it go, and let your body just naturally breathe in and out. It doesn't have to be anything special, it just needs to be moving, it needs to be flowing. Under we go. Open the palm, so whenever you thread the needle, keep the palm open, facing the ceiling. Relax into it. We're going to go up again, number 2. Hold it. You're under pressure. Your body's under pressure. I understand. Just work through it. Come underneath, thread the needle. If it's too much lifting your hand over your head, you can just bend your elbow. I'll show you on the last rep. Enjoy this this second last movement here. Place your cheek down and just feel the stretch. Push through the opposite grounded hand. Okay, push down through the palm. Again, create a bit of opposition. And let's go for the last rep. Now watch this. If you feel like it, if you're okay, just keep going. But you can bend the elbow. We get the similar response in the body, the similar kind of stretch. But it's less of a challenge to hold it for long. Okay, here we go. Thread the needle. Okay, into the grounded position, walk your hands back, find a way to stand up, or stay down and just relax, because the hard work is done today. Well done. I want to thank you for taking your time to be with me and to working on your body. So take a moment to have a small bit of appreciation for yourself for putting the time into improving. Again, the philosophy is that we do this daily or weekly. We make it a part of your habits and your rituals in your life, because this is ultimately how your body will change and improve and get stronger and feel more freedom inside your body, less aches and pains and stiffness. And that's ultimately the end result. That's why we're doing this, to feel better inside our body.